Today I'm showing you my build for the Phalanx for Endgame Extreme Insane. It's worth noting that it's not really ideal for Insane. You might as well just run another gunner if you're gonna do that. But I did test this on Extreme on 4.2 when we were initially testing out how to beat the board. And it held up very well up until late game before we realized we could pull back the enemies. And I had already switched back over to another gunner. And we ended up beating it like that. But it did hold its own very well on Extreme now that the shield can block, and you can keep your shield up the entire game now. So the Phalanx playability has skyrocketed, but still for Insane, anytime you would want to run a Phalanx, I would probably just run a gunner instead. But let's going to get into the build right now. So first off, we have the combat pistol. This is a lot less important because primarily you are going to be using the shotgun with this build. This is a shotgun build. It is actually really good when coupled with a gunner because you can do a lot of damage with your shotgun when the overclock is going. But we're going to be running fire rate and stability for the fire rate, more fire rate and max ammo, and accuracy and more so weak point damage. For our shotgun, more importantly, we are going to be running weak point and effective range, fire rate, magazine capacity, and stability. Now, if you are burning through your shotgun ammo way too quickly, then you're going to have to go to reload speed and max ammo, take one less in the capacity, slightly slower fire rate, but get more shells. Then we'll be running accuracy and weak point damage. Definitely need that weak point damage, as much weak point damage as possible. So if we do have a gunner, we can just melt dudes with him. Like, you can easily fire off 20 plus rounds on a standard overclock with this build, which I'll get into in one moment. Also, for any given board on Extreme or Insane, you're probably going to want at least 6 cryo grids, at least 3 drones, and then the rest depending on the board. But the cryo grid is excellent for him taking down drones. He could actually take down drones pretty simply solo, just as long as he can get the drone to keep going into the cryo. So on to the perks. Our first perk is going to be, while the shield is up, our melee damage is increased by 100%, and the movement penalty speed is reduced by 20%. This is not for the melee. This is pretty much just for the movement speed. You shouldn't really be meleeing with this build, especially on Extreme or Insane. Definitely, you can melee once. Strategically, you can melee once. Do not melee in a group like 2 times in a row. If you melee and melee again, you are leaving yourself wide open for an attack, and chances are you are going to get hit. So be advised, you definitely do not want to spam melees. Even if you have the melee stun perk, which has been removed from this build, you do not want to spam melees. So next up we have grant 20% stun resistance, 10% ADS movement speed, and 10% movement speed. This is mostly for the movement speed. With this build, you're going to be able to move fairly quickly in shield mode, especially when you're not in ADS. You are going to be able to dodge spitters even in shield mode. So next up we do have the Vanguard. It was commented on a recent build, my non-Extreme Insane build, that this perk might not work. I was talking to friends while testing out this build on that Extreme 4.2, and they claimed that they definitely felt they took less damage because they stood behind me 100% of the time, and they felt that they did get the reduced damage, and I trust their opinion. So I feel like this works. They definitely claimed they took less damage, and we ran multiple runs to test it out. Next up, 100%, you are going to be running the concussion pulse. This is your knockback. Very important that you have this so you can push enemies back off you. You can stun drones and larger enemies. The crusher on the ground isn't even a threat. It doesn't even know what to do with you. But when the crusher stands, or the drone stands, or the prowler, all 3 of those can pin you. So they can grab you, so you do want this available. Also, it's nice occasionally just to push back like 6 enemies and slow them down for a minute. So we're going to run 20% reduction time on this. You don't really need to spam this ability, but it's nice to have it a little bit more frequent than the 30 seconds. I think that brings it down to 25 seconds if I'm correct. It should be 25 seconds. which is a pretty good timing on it. And then every time we use it, we get a slowed field for 10 seconds, which is really nice. It does slow down the enemies, kind of about equal to the Doc's trauma station. So next up, we're going to be adding a little bit more movement speed. Once again, this is less for the stun recovery and grapple resistance, and more for the movement speed. With the shield now, if you're cautious, you should never drop your shield. I did like 10, 12 test games, and not one time did I drop my shield. Not once. So, if you play strategically, you should be able to keep your shield up. If you get grabbed or you get pounced, I did get that a couple of times. Obviously, you're going to drop your shield, but just from melee hits and anything besides a grab, did not lose my shield. That's also why the grapple damage resistance is kind of nice. You do get that, so you can get out a little bit quicker when it does occur. And then we have all shotgun perks. We're increasing the magazine accuracy and fire rate is really what we're going for right here. Stability helps just a little bit, but it's mostly because that's the only black we can actually increase on magazine capacity. Then we got more accuracy and more magazine capacity. More magazine capacity and ADS speed. ADS speed actually does work while the shield is up, so that actually is a really nice double bonus on that one. Then we got more fire rate and stability, more fire rate and accuracy, which comes down to while you're aiming, the accuracy, the spread on this is just insane. You're just landing all those shots, which is really nice. Now you're getting a little bit more of a wider spread while you're on the shield, but you can move fairly quickly, very easy to dodge spitters. While you're aimed, you will be slow enough where you'll just barely dodge or barely get hit by the spitters, so you want to kind of strafe on spitters. And ADS when you're fighting the drones and you're just unloading on them real quick. The fire rate on this build is really strong. This is a shotgun build. You got your shield to block you. This is take the front of all the corridors and push forward build. A true Vanguard build. And it's about, in my opinion, it's the best you're going to get for Extreme or Insane. I still wouldn't put him in the meta squad. Doc and Phalanx just don't make the cut. Pretty much for every single one. You can, on Extreme, on a couple missions, run a Doc or a Phalanx, but for the most part, the meta is Gunner, Demolitionist, Demolisher, Technician, and Recon are the best ones. They do fall slightly into the B squad, but it is playable. Like, you could play it and win, so. This is my build for the Extreme and Insane, although it really has not been tested on Insane. It's only been tested on Extreme, but it's the same on Insane. You just get hit less. You gotta just play really smart and don't get hit. Same thing as Extreme, just get hit less. I hope that helps.